Hello, everyone. We are live today, and I'm so excited because I am bringing you our women's lifestyle coach, Rukshana Triem. Hello, Rukshana. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me, Laura. I'm so happy to be here today.
Yes, I'm excited to hear all about you because your story is absolutely fascinating and what you have done with your life and to empower and help women and help school-aged children in Africa too is really a wonderful story. So before we get too into it, I would love to just hear a little bit about your origin story. I know that you came to the United States as a refugee from Mozambique. Is that correct?
Yes, I came here in 1992 and very, very grateful to come here. I believe that it is a gift where we end up landing ourselves. So, yes, I was originally born in Mozambique due to the war. My family fled to the neighboring country called Zambia. We hiked there for 2 days. And upon arrival, we arrived in Malawi. That's the first country. And then we arrived in the village where we established for about 5 years, learning the culture, learning the language, adapting to the lifestyle. We lived in a hut, carrying water on our head, waiting in line for food. And then as we settled in, my family decided that they have a better chance of moving to another country. This time it was another neighboring country called Zambia.
Mhm.
And there we landed in the capital city in the refugee camp. And there in the refugee camp, we had settled in for about 5 years until 1992. That's when we got an asylum to come to United States. So my whole family came to United States due to asylum in 1992.
Oh my gosh. So how old were you when you first had to leave due to the war? How old were you with that?
I was 5 when we left for Malawi, and then I was 10 when we left to go to Zambia, and then I was 15 when we left when I came to United States.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. So a bunch of different cultures, a bunch of different types of lifestyles, and that must have been a pretty challenging time for you growing up. Or was it just what you knew?
You know, when you're growing up, when you live in that environment, that's all you know. It's the survival part. That survival part is part of you. I feel like, those examples of carrying water on my head and, taking care of the family, getting up in the morning and, putting the campfire together and cooking for my family and doing clothes and doing all those things and waiting, even when I was in the refugee camp, waiting for food in line. I feel like that really shaped me for who I am today with my work ethic, my tenacity not to give up. Because of that, I feel like the things that happened through that time in my life, it really shaped me who I am today, never to give up because I've dealt with worse things, especially coming from survival of not knowing if I'm going to have dinner or a meal for the day, if my family is going to eat.
Mm.
So there's worse things that I've dealt with that I can compare with life where I am in the United States that I can never compare to anything else.
Oh my gosh, that is such a wonderful way to approach life and look at challenges nowadays, right?
Yes, yes, yes. Learning opportunities. Yes.
So when you came to the United States, how big of a shock was it for you?
Very, it was very huge. I mean, first of all, again, there's their adaptation. So I had to learn how to speak English.
So you're
And
15 and
yes,
didn't know any English at that point.
not at all. I had to learn how to speak English. And again, learning the new culture, the norm, what's a norm. I arrived in the United States and I went right to ninth grade. So high school was very, very different compared to, the school that I went in Africa. So, but I went in ESL. So I got to meet some of the students from Mexico, some of the kids. I mean, at that time, in 1992, I think they had the Gulf War, so they had a lot of families from Somalia. So I got to live with the communities, we knew that we're from Africa. So it's kind of there's that sisterhood in that family because we knew that we're from Africa. So yeah, those were a lot of culture shock experiences. Again, that was a great learning opportunity for me that shaped me for who I am today.
That's wonderful. So when you came, were you proud of your culture? Did you, or were you trying to fit in with the United States? Where were you along those lines? I mean, 15, ninth grade, that's a tough time for anyone, let alone coming to a brand new country, culture, and everything else.
Yeah, so when I came, I don't think anybody wants to belong. I mean, wants to fit in. I think we all want to belong part of something, but
Mhm.
if we don't have people that we're from the same country, you kind of try to fit in, you know. You try to learn the American way of cooking, you learn the American recipes, you learn how to do things instead of washing your clothes on your hand, you put your clothes in the washer. That's what the washer is for. Instead of wash dishes in the dishwasher, instead of washing them on hand, you put them in a dish, like you'd learn all those things here. um Again, it was very, very different, you know, and I feel like I adapted to the American way of living, you know,
Mhm.
because there wasn't authentic foods. But we like arrived in San Diego, there wasn't authentic food. The foods that we eat in Africa, there wasn't there, so we had to adapt to, you know, buy macaroni and cheese and learn how to cook and stuff like the basic stuff that they didn't have. Like, you know, we had to go to the Asian store to get the things that we knew how to eat and how to cook. So we adapted a lot of ways of cooking and adapted different ways of preparing our meals. um, but yeah, I mean, now I look back, I don't think I was really proud of who I am. I think that proudness came in after you grow up at a certain age. You know, I started going back and I started appreciating my culture more, you know, because I do have all of the culture. I have, you know, I'm very much American, I'm very much African, I'm very much Mozambican and Malawian and Zambia. So it's really hard to put me in a different box because I belong to all of those. So I just have learned how to adapt them all and utilize them into my life to my best way that serves me and help other people.
That's fantastic. Wow. So, um, how did this point you into what you first started doing when you got done with high school and college? What was it that you went on to start, and how did your background point you in that direction?
Well, my background led me to, you know, the fear of getting married early and, you know, escaping my childhood because I was so taking used to taking care of my family and I didn't want to do that. So what I did is getting married made me escape from home and had children, and then having children, that realizing that I had so many deep wounds that was hurting my lifestyle. It got to a point where I had gained about 80 pounds and I was carrying this weight around and it was hurting my body. It was hurting all parts of my body, headaches, backache. And it wasn't until I realized that, you know what, I'm going to go to school, I'm going to learn. I got my bachelor's degree. It took me 10 years to get my bachelor's degree. But my bachelor's degree, as I was doing that, I was also teaching early childhood education. You know, I went through a divorce. I learned a lot about myself. I learned through inner peace and I started going hiking, walking. I fell in love with the outdoors, especially here in Pacific Northwest. I live here in Portland. You know, the whole transition helped me. All the pieces I feel like that played in my life, like the pack in the refugee camp, living in the hut in Malawi, all those little pieces growing up in America, I feel like have really compressed into this lifestyle that I got to design. So I designed business, this coaching practice, which really you know, focuses on the way that I want my life to look like. So most of my things that I do is based on the outdoor nature and coaching and bringing women together. So yeah, I just collected all those wonderful tools and put them together and package them all up.
That's fantastic. And and you actually take your clients on hikes, don't you do hikes with them?
I do. So this is the fun thing that I love to hike. So I tell my clients that you can choose to we can Zoom on once a week, or we can do a hike every two times, well, once every 2 weeks. So yes, I get to position the hike how long they want. You know, 5 miles with amount of elevation, because I believe that, you know, the part of nature really grounds us,
Yeah.
and the first mother of the earth is the nature. If we go into nature, I believe that all our thoughts, all our processing kind of drops down, all our ego drops down, we're able to surrender, and our hearts open, our mind clears, and we're more reciprocal to open to learning, just be open to new habit or open to whatever we want to listen to.
Oh, that's awesome. And do your clients respond to that? Do they feel like that they get more breakthroughs out in nature?
They love that a lot because they're more relaxed, like because
Mhm.
my clients are women, so at home they are in Zoom, so they have so many distractions coming in. Mom, can I have this? Can I take this? So when they go in nature, they really have that time alone. It's really not the time alone by themselves. They have that time alone with me, but then feel more relaxed, and they don't have all that distraction with their phone and their text messages and all those that's coming onto them with the noise around the house. So it gives them an opportunity for them just to be outside and just shut everything that's distracting around them and just be with themselves.
Oh, that's awesome. I bet that's so rewarding and fun.
Yeah, yeah.
One of your tenets is changing your story, how changing your story can help you be a better person, be more successful, be happier. What is it about changing your story? Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, so changing our story is really, we have this recording that, what we learn from our culture, what we learn from our parents. It's nothing wrong. It's just an expectation of the world, this weight that we carry. And then we carry this story as the world wants us to see. And we try to make everybody happy except us.
Mhm.
And then what happens, it hurts us, it hurts our body, it hurts everything parts of us. And I've done that. I lived in that old story trying to make everybody happy, and that's how I ended up living miserable and gaining so much weight and getting so sick. And then through changing my story, what I did is, I said, you know what, I get to design my story the way I want to live. I want to create my life. I'm not going to do things that my grandmother, who has passed away 7 years ago, trying to do that, trying to make her happy. Because me living in the moment, thriving through life, I am making her happy. If I'm the happiest, I get to give my joy and empowerment, inspiration to other women. And then she'll be happy in her grave as she's resting, knowing that. So why am I doing things that doesn't make me happy? So, changing my story is really telling myself this is what I'm going to create. I love to hike. I'm going to create a business that supports my hiking. I love businesses. I love to connect women businesses together. I'm going to create an event that supports businesses. I love to support a lot of women. I collaborated with Lonnie Grass, where we built this confidence speakers catalyst where we empower women to share their stories on stage for the first time. I said, I'm going to collaborate with somebody. So, letting go the old ways of thinking and this new way of thinking that we get to create what we want by bringing people together, by supporting one another, by creating the love, what makes us expand, what makes us feel alive, what makes us feel good. So do more of that. So yes, change your story. It's definitely a way of thinking, a way of life, because I have done it. I used to do things that did not complete me, did not make me feel good. I was just doing for other people,
Mhm.
and it was just depleting, taking the life out of me. I'm feeling like I was committing suicide to my soul.
Mhm.
And the moment that I started doing things that I love, I had so much energy, and all that energy it impacted my family at home, and then it impacted the people that I interacted with and my community.
I love how you said about your grandmother smiling at you in the grave. And that's just a wonderful thing to think about, that really the people that love us the most are probably happiest when we're happy.
Mhm.
And so, to constantly try and please others, do things for others is sort of taking that away. And you can think of it as then they're not going to be as happy for us, right?
Yeah, yeah,
That's a great, I
yeah.
love that. Tammy
Thank
was
you.
here and she said, "Hi, beautiful ladies." Hi, Tammy. That's awesome. All right. And then living authentically, that probably goes a little bit again with uh, the changing your story too, and really knowing who you are and living authentically. And how have you discovered living authentically, and how do you help others figure out how to live authentically?
Yeah, and living authentically is really about us, to share our stories. And you're doing that, Laura. You have created a community and you get to bring women together and help them share the story, create this atmosphere that's very comforting. Living authentically is not allowing our past control us. Not allowing those voices. I share a lot of my stories about my divorce. Like, my divorce was my greatest gift because I got to see something in me that I didn't know I was capable of doing. My ex-husband was the greatest gift because when he said I want a divorce, then I didn't know that I had so much energy in me that I was able to create a beautiful lifestyle. Now I look back 15 years later, I was like, look what I have created through the last 15 years. Amazing relationships. So again, I mean, of course, being authentic is, sharing our stories with the people who have the right to hear, who have claimed the right to hear, who have, we have invited them, they have earned their trust to hear our story. And then, but also when we do share with us community, when we do share a story with our friends, and when we're vulnerable, it also gives us permission that that story no longer owns us anymore because we have released it into the world. We have released it to somebody else. It becomes a gift for somebody else. They can say, you know what, that happened to me too. I don't feel so alone anymore. And it liberates, it takes the pain away. And the more we do that, the more we help our community, the more we help other women, the more we know, like, you know what, me too, I was there, I feel that. And then we can all come together and empower each other and help us heal through the authenticity, through the vulnerability, because our past are not supposed to own us. Our past is our gift for somebody else to be waiting, who's waiting to hear. And they can only hear that from us when we finally have the courage to share that.
That's that's beautiful. I just got chills up the back of my neck when you explained it that way. I think that's wonderful. And you're right. The timing has to be right, and the people have to that you're telling have to earn the right to hear that. I love that. What a great way to look at the challenges in life as gifts, and they're all gifts for us to really help other people through maybe those same challenges later on.
Yes, yes. Yeah, I never thought about that until I started, started sharing my story. I mean, I wrote a blog about it, and then, people were like, hey, can you write more about that? And then that blog compiled into like probably 14 blogs. And then you said, you know what? I'm just going to turn that into a book. And it was like when I wrote that and I just compiled it and turned it into a book and then released it to the world, then it felt really liberating because I felt like, you know what, that was part of me. It's no longer me. Now it's going to go to somebody who needs to hear it. And when they're ready to hear it, they're going to listen. Then they can say, okay, if she had the courage to do that, whatever she did, I can do it too. Just take one step at a time.
Hmm. That's awesome. Somebody else says, love it. So that's great. Fantastic. All right. So before we get too much talking about this, I want to make sure we touch on the fact that you have a big event coming up in November, right?
Yes.
All right. Tell us about this baby of yours that you have been giving life to.
Oh my goodness. So I'm going to tell you, this is one of the biggest event and it's the most scariest event. And I can feel the weight of the world just like taking on. And I'm going to tell you why this event was. This was an event that was in the making for almost 3 years. It was supposed to be in Portland, Oregon. We're supposed to have a live event. We're supposed to fly in speakers here. And then COVID happened. And the theme is called Change Your Story. So if you have a theme that says Change Your Story, do you just put the thing on the shelf and forget it until next year? No, you don't. So I got together with all the amazing speakers, my team, and they said the show must go on. And we went ahead and scrambled and tried to put this event online. So we had to do a pushback. So it's now, it's going to be November 14th. So what makes this an amazing event is because it has 3 parts. So it has the conference part, we have speakers, and then we have breakout sessions, and then we have the fashion show. So what makes it also incredible about the fashion show is the clothes was made in Africa. So our women who are wearing these fashion live here in Pacific Northwest. They got their measurements sent into Africa because I'm working with communities and the trade school to empower them. And so they design these clothes, they send them here, and our women is wearing them, and we put some amazing tribal face painting on them to celebrate African tribe, African tradition, and they're showcasing all of this on the runway. And I wanted to represent the fashion show like women represent beauty in all aspects of life. You know, beauty is your wounds, beauty is your tattoo, beauty is everything in you. So when I saw the women walking on the runway, and I'm like, this is your moment to shine, to share all your life, all your history, because I want to see you. So now that we have the fashion show, it also going to help boost the confidence of these young audiences in Africa that they design, because they get to see different women of ethnic background, different age group, different hair color, you know, representing them, which is going to send a message to the world, especially in you know, developing world where they believe that everything needs to come from made in China or made in USA. The message, we're changing the younger generation that you have everything within you. You have your culture, you have your history. You should be sharing that with the world. So sending the message to these young audiences that you can create anything from this small little tiny village, and you can go somewhere in Portland, Oregon, and somebody can buy your product. We just need a different way of innovative thinking. So, and the other part of course, the speakers, what makes this incredible is it's a woman-led community. So we have photographer who's a woman, the fashion, the what is it called? The coach who's helping these women model is, you know, it's a whole team of women. The makeup artists are women. So there is a team of 40 businesses that were working together. So it's a huge collaboration. It's a huge collaboration. And I'm not a detailed person, so, but I hired somebody who is a very detailed person. I'm just a planting a seed that God universe used me to be that, you know, to be that planter, to plant that seed, and then the right people coming into you know, to lead this event. So yes, I'm super excited. I would love to invite your amazing people to join us. The benefit will go towards the nonprofit called Firmina Foundation, which is the nonprofit I founded because of the countries that I lived in. I'm from Mozambique, I lived in Malawi, and I lived in Zambia. So our project is going to be working on the second project on a school with disability. But our first school, we just accomplished our first school. This village did not have a school. The children were learning under a mango tree. So now we have a structured school. There's 3 classrooms, and it's going to serve about 300 students who are all walking to this destination, to our school. And now our of course, the ticket sales and the fundraiser we're going to do at the end is going to help raise funds for the desks that we're going to build for this new school. So all the pieces, I know there's so many parts, but it all comes together.
Oh my gosh, it is. It's like a beautiful flower with lots of petals that is coming together in an amazing event. Yeah. And I just think that's so beautiful about the fashion show. And you're so right, showing them that everything that they have in their small little village is going out into the world to make a difference, to make other women feel empowered and beautiful, and being able to walk on a runway in their clothes. I just think that's so wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. So I have the conference up here, but we will make sure and get a link to that underneath if anyone wants to join that. The speakers sound absolutely amazing, and their topics sound really good. And then we'll be able to go into breakout sessions will it be with the speakers, or?
Yeah, so the speakers, we have a 20-minute spotlight. So the speakers are speaking an inspirational message. And then after the message, there's going to be a little dancing. So you have an opportunity to dance, to practice
Awesome.
some dance. There's little commercials here. You're going to practice how to dance. And then you do the breakout. There's a lot of movement because we don't want everybody to sit down the whole time. There's lots of hands-on movement to just, to move your body, to learn something. It's a great opportunity if you have kids at home to learn something new and
Uh-huh.
for them to be part of this. And then we have a breakout session. So the breakout session is where you're going to the Zoom room with one of the specific speakers, and then they have more in-depth of 40 minutes of a workshop. So that's where the learning begins. But it's kind of like a party. So we're not doing it in person, but we're doing it on our group and we're not doing it live, but we're trying to make as much as energy we could do. So maybe hopefully next year when we do live, it'll be really more energetic. So we'll try our best to do lots of movements and to keep you entertained.
Oh my gosh, that sounds like an amazing event so kids can join in, and maybe even like teen girls, would this be appropriate for?
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Yeah, they would love the fashion, they would love the dance because there's like a dance lesson through the commercial, and then at the end there's a live music. You get to dance the whole thing because through the commercial you had those opportunity to learn, and then at the end you have that live music, and then you can watch, and then the fashion show is at the end where you get an opportunity to see these incredible, amazing women wearing these bright colors with their tribal face painting. It's very dramatic and it's beautiful. It's really celebrating life. It's celebrating all of us. It's celebrating womanhood, all their stories for what they represent.
Wow. And so one of your other tenets is living through strength and faith. And I bet you utilized a lot of strength and faith in developing this conference, didn't you?
I did because everybody keeps, I mean, people that I said, like, how are you going to do it? This vision is, I'm like, I don't know, but I know when you have a vision, you just plant it and then the right people keep start coming. And that's, have done a lot of that with, with the nonprofit. I didn't know when I first took a group of 14 women to go build a school, I didn't know how that was going to look like. And I'm like, you know what? We'll figure it out when we get there. And I'm sure we'll have an best experience and nothing, we'll be so grateful we did. So I believe that when you have that idea, sometimes we don't have the answers of everything, and it's really easy for us to say, because I don't have all the details, I'm not going to do that.
Mhm.
But I feel like once we implement that one idea, then one person is going to come in and then another person is going to come in, and that's the whole concept with this conference. People are asking me like, how are you going to raise money? I'm like, I don't know. I'm going to call people. Would they want to sponsor? I want to ask people, do they want to buy a ticket buy for their sister? I know if they believe in the alignment of women empowerment, supporting businesses, the right people will come and support. Again, it's for a great nonprofit that's raising money for the desk. So if they feel that they're aligned, and I do believe that, like, if we trust that this is the right idea that's coming through, we don't know the how. The how will come later. The how will come through Laura, who you are giving me an opportunity to share the story on your platform. And then some of the ladies will buy the ticket or will sponsor. The how will get there. I don't know. Like I said, this is my first big event. I've never hosted a big event before. I'm scared because I don't know if I'm going to sell my gold ticket to 100. I have no idea. But I trust that the right people will come and then they'll talk about it and share the value and share the wisdom and share the story.
Oh, I think that is such a good life lesson too, that everybody should follow, because I think that faith is something that we tend to talk a lot about, but when it comes to when the rubber meets the road, we kind of forget, and we're like, oh, I don't know how, so I'm just going to put that on the back burner for now.
Yeah.
And that really, if you just kind of keep going, the answers come, the people come, the how gets figured out, and maybe in an even better way than what you thought.
Mm-hmm. That's true. That's
Oh,
true. And the people who are around us, like, they're the incredible, most gifted people. Like, I have so many amazing women. Like, they call me every day. Are you doing okay? Because it's such a big event. I want to make sure your mental health is okay. Are you going hiking? Like, that's when you're in the right place doing the right thing, because I could just, just cancel it because I'm afraid. But I said, those are the little hints that's reminding me I'm in the right place. Like today, I got somebody who called, was like, hey, do you have a sponsor for the event? That affirms that I'm in the right path. I was like, okay, it's still scary, but it's not getting scarier and scarier because I build the confidence through the process of doing it and giving one step in front of the other.
Hmm. And speaking now, and I don't remember, it's escaping my brain, but you decided to join or do something to help with your mental health during this big event of yours, right? What was that? I just saw that somewhere. Didn't you join something kind of different? And
Oh, I recently took on kickboxing.
that's right. That was it.
Well, the gym, my gym closed. So I figure like if I'm gonna be helping this big team, it's a big production. We have so many pieces coming together, and I need to make sure that I replenish myself. And exercise has been replenishing me, and I haven't been able to get out because again with the smokes in Pacific Northwest. So I joined a kickboxing, and the reason I joined a kickboxing, it's new, it's different, and I'm like, just put another thing on the pile, so. And I've been going 2 times a week, and I'm always so sore. It takes me like 2 days to recuperate to go back again. I was supposed to go this morning, but I'm exhausted. I can feel it, but it just feeds me. I know that when I exercise, it helps me get, it's like that muscle, it gets stronger, then I'm able to deal with other things. So yes, so that's important.
I just love you. So you're putting on a big conference, and we're going to take on kickboxing too.
Yes, and it's at 5 o'clock in the morning, so
Oh my
that gives
gosh,
me
gets you
so
up.
yeah, so that gets me up, and then I'm able to fill up the day with so much production. I'm able to finish so many things because I had so much high intensity energy in the morning. I got a good sweat, and then by the evening I'm like crashed, so I'm done. So yeah, the day goes smoother when I exercise, when I start with exercise. Yes.
Oh, I love that. Fantastic. Well, I will make sure your contact information is below. And you have a newsletter too that people can subscribe to. Tell me about the newsletter. What does that entail?
So the newsletter, it's I talk about upcoming events. I take groups of women to Africa once a year. Unfortunately, this year's trip was canceled due to COVID-19. That's what's just happening in my community, and I like to share resources. What's happening here in Pacific Northwest, something I'm learning. So right now in my newsletter, I'm sharing a lot about what I'm learning through putting this conference together.
Mm-hmm.
So my gleaned from the conference. So I'm learning so much of that. So I'm sharing that journey through the newsletter. So that's one of the things I do.
Fantastic. All right. Well, we'll make sure and get all of these links in the comments below. But we would love to see you at the conference. I'm going. I'm super excited to learn some African dancing, and
I want to see that because we have a lot of women. They're going to be learning too. But I want to see that too. You're going to have to tag me to that.
I don't know if I should or not, but I will bring my full replica of my early days when I used to be able to dance, and my children now tell me, please don't embarrass us, Mom.
Hey, that's the best part is with now at this time in the stage, we have to embarrass them because that's the pleasure of it.
Yes. Yes, I tell my daughter when she plays soccer that I'm going to prancercise on the sidelines.
That's funny.
Yeah, she doesn't like that so much.
That's funny.
Well,
thank you so much for having me, Laura. I really, really appreciate you.
Yes, thank you so much, Rukshana. You are a beautiful woman. You have done amazing things. I can't wait to see what else your life has in store for you, and I'm grateful for our connection.
Thank you.
Yes. All right. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. We'll talk to you soon. Cheers.